Hey guys, this is Will of Thai BL, and welcome to my last video of 2020. The time has come for me to finally say to all of you the list of BLs in which I feel so much connected. This ranking might or might not be the same as yours, as we all have our favorites and preferences. These preferences are greatly affecting on how we view things in our lives, and that translates to the BLs we watch too. It's okay if we don't agree with each other on this, because the most important aspect is that these BLs made our 2020 great. In this ranking, there are only 8 BLs that managed to get into my top list, and this ranking is the hardest thing I have done on my channel. Without further ado, let's get started. Before we dive into my top BLs of this year, I would like to mention these series that I think have so much potentials to be included in our top lists but fall short on some key elements in which matter most. The first BL on our honorable list is The Shipper. The plot was pretty unique compared to other BLs we had in the past, and the casts were perfect. First and Ohm showed us their great acting skills as Kim and Ket. The Shipper started strong, but from midway towards the ending, I started to ask myself whether there's even a bit of BL story on this. The ending confirmed that there was, but it was not given the chance to shine because of its plot. A season 2 could fix this issue, but for now, all we can do is to wait. The second BL on our honorable list is Hello Stranger. This was one of the first BLs that I watched with the online setup, and I thought that it was a unique and cool idea. I liked the casts of this series and also fell in love with them, but their setup was limiting the potential of the plot. The characters did not have that much of a background story or depth in it, which is both good and bad effects on it. It was good because we could understand the characters very well without thinking too much about it, but it's also bad because there were not much memorable moments for it. Nevertheless, a better plot and storyline would give justice to this BL. The third BL on our honorable list is Mr. Heart. Korean BLs have so much potential with the level of their production, but watching almost all of them made me realize that the plot is somehow the same across the line. Mr. Heart had a great potential to be one of the best, but the plot, most especially halfway towards the ending, lost me. The main couple has one of the best chemistry I have seen in 2020, but the story wouldn't let me put this in our list of top BLs of this year. The last BL on our honorable list is Wish You. This BL got me from the beginning, and the thing that made this interesting was the incorporation of music into the plot. I love music, and this BL got the best songs used in their scenes. The thing that stopped me from putting this on my top list was the confusion on the development of the main couple. There was not enough time and moments to build up their relationship as friends or even as a couple. I felt that it was rushed and not so many good moments happen in the span of 8 episodes. Before anything else, I also would like to add the comments of my patrons on what is their favorite BL of 2020, and here are their answers. Also, here are the 5 best comments I picked on my previous video, BL Awards 2020. After carefully considering every BL released in this year, here are my 8 best BLs of 2020. My engineer might have won a lot of major awards on my BL Awards 2020, but I really could not justify if this BL went higher on our list. My engineer was pretty good in terms of its production and storyline, but the plot was not quite extraordinary. We have seen too many engineering stories and students in the past, and my engineer is just as good, if not better than them. That may be affected by my insights and expectations for this series. What saved this BL were the interesting characters, most especially Ranking and Mech Boss. The pacing of the story was quite good and it made me understand the series more and fully. Unlike other BL series that only focuses on the main couple, my engineer gave us different types of relationships. Even though there were many characters in this one, it did not make me confused on who's who because all of them had their own character development. My engineer also tackled some misconceptions such as the top or bottom in a relationship, and it was explained very well. The top and bottom are not based on a person's physical build like most people would always do. It was a small step towards a better community, but those things help. Together and Still Together are the two of the most watched BLs in 2020 on YouTube and Line TV. But the 7th spot is not meant for Together but for Still Together, which fixed a lot of plot holes on the main series. Still Together was like a missing piece on the original series and it completed the story of Solo Wartentine. Still Together improved a lot compared to Together, including the editing, transition, and also how it handled the side couples. The main series also had other issues such as some representation of women without adding context for the whole story other than for a plot device. Still Together also gave justice to Green's character, unlike in the original series which was only seen as comic relief. Green got a story on its own, although it was not that deep unlike any other series with this kind of character. But it's understandable since Still Together is a light-themed BL that focuses more on the romance side rather than a serious one. This BL also has a great music selection, most especially those songs of Scrub that always make me feel in love. That might be one of the reasons why this series became huge worldwide. Life Love on the Line is a unique BL on this lineup for 2020. Spoiler alert. If you already miss Shigu and Outing from Make Our Days Count, then you might want to watch this to see them for the very last time. Life Love on the Line is a complete recipe for an LGBT relationship. The story began as a stranger until they became sweetheart lovers and then as live-in partners. I have never seen a BL in this year that got a wide range such as that in terms of the story setting. And that was also the main reason why it is only on our 6th spot instead of a higher ranking in our list. Since this is a Japanese BL, I was confused on how they narrated the years or their age on the story. The language did not help me, and sometimes subtitles made me confused on what's already happening on the screen. I never realized until halfway through the whole series that they were narrating the stories of the two main characters based on their respective ages. Overall, Life Love on the Line is such a unique BL for 2020 and could have been better if some narratives were explained fully. Where Your Eyes Linger is the very first Korean BL I have seen, and it was love at first sight. Compared to other Korean BLs which aired this year, this I think was the most polished in terms of its plot and the characters. The series was true to its concept of the master-slave relationship, and the build-up of the characters was also good. One thing that I will always praise on this BL is the chemistry of the two main actors. Seeing Han Tae-ju flirting with Kang-guk is one of the best I have seen in a BL. Though this only got fewer episodes compared to other BLs in this list, the connection between the two characters was always present throughout the whole story. But compared to our top 4 BLs of this list, the story was kinda lacking in terms of the overall plot. The story only revolved around their story as students, with the inclusion of a girl character in which did not add that much to the storyline. The kidnap arc was not also my kind of thing, although that scene showcased the love of Kang-guk to Tae-ju. Lastly, most Korean dramas always have this plot wherein the parents are the villain in the main couple couple's love story. Nevertheless, Where Your Eyes Linger gave us a different experience of BL with its story. Gameboys is one of the best BLs I have seen in 2020 and it became my golden standard for a Filipino BL. This BL is so unique and different compared to every other BL series I have watched already. Gameboys pioneered the idea of the online setup in a BL. Although I was kinda hesitated at first whether to watch it fully, luckily I gave it a chance and it never disappointed me. Gav's endearment of Baby for Cairo was not my favorite at first but it grew on me as I watched the entirety of Gameboys. The story of friendship was also the highlight of the show. I viewed that aspect as one of the most important because Gameboys is timely in 2020. The incorporation of the friendship between Gav, Cairo, and Pearl is the best thing to happen in the series. In the midst of the pandemic, your friends could also be the ones who could help you in times of crisis. Their healthy relationship with one another is a great addition to this magnificent show. I have already said this before but it's only a matter of time if this kind of concept would stand the test of time. The plot of Gameboys is already great but I still want to see Gav and Cairo in usual scenes like the others in this list. We already love them with their online interaction but the physical interaction will give us a different flavor of their characters and that's what I am waiting for in the second season. Cherry Magic is the fluffiest BL in 2020 and I never thought that a light-hearted theme like this would become my instant favorite. Among all of this BL, Cherry Magic is the lightest story you can watch today but can also warm your heart with each scene. The unique concept of this BL is one of the main reasons why it's on my top 3. The healthy relationship between Adachi and Kurosawa made their story even more adorable. Adding fictional events or twists such as the power to read other people's minds is kinda new in BL while also maintaining the focus on the main character's love story. Throughout the whole story, it did not lose from the original concept and the consistency is worth praising. If there's one thing that I would change on this BL, that would be the color grading of the scenes. There were times that I think the color was too yellow and it affected my viewing experience. I don't exactly know what was the reason behind that. It might be a budget issue or something else but it should be fixed next time if they plan to do another season or series. Like in the Movies is my favorite Filipino BL of the year and I don't know why I was so much hooked with it even after just episode 1. First and foremost, I love the casts of this BL and its concept of the story is somehow different from other Filipino BLs which aired also this year. I also got some memories of Theory of Love and Dark Blue Kiss just by watching it and that's where the good and bad sides start. The good about it is, it's a unique concept which is true in the title itself. Like in the Movies resembled other shows or movies into a single series while adding the story of two gay people. The bad side about it, some viewers might think that the whole series might not be an original story. The concept is also similar to Theory of Love which other people might not want to see. Fortunately, the way the story was told to us is unique on its own. There might be similarities but at the same time, very different. I fell in love with this series even more because of breaking stereotypes in our community which is very important. The way it was explained and incorporated into the story was great and superb. I have never seen other BL which is so true with its intention to the community itself. That alone made this series worthy of the top 2 spot. Three things to summarize why I Told Sunset About You landed on my top spot for the best BLs of 2020. Masterpiece, perfection, art. Those 3 words are the best to describe this whole show. The plot was well thought and the production and post-production can't be matched by any of the other BLs in this list. The moment you start watching this BL, It will never vanish from your mind anymore. I told Sunset about you gave us the best quality in a BL for a very long time. The incorporation of the Chinese language in the series added more depth to the whole storyline. The story of friendship was depicted realistically. The acting of the casts is so great that it surpasses the roof for being a BL. The music used in the series was also good that I kept repeating it daily non-stop. Lastly, the depth of each scene is impeccable. Watch it the first time and you will understand its story, but watching it repeatedly will give you other representations that are also relevant to the characters and the society. I told Sunset about you is on another level. It's ahead in terms of everything. But there's one thing that it misses. It's only 5 episodes. But the second season will air soon. What else can I ask for? And those are the BLs that I love in 2020. Share your ranking in the comments section below. What are the BLs you look forward the most in 2021? Thank you for joining me for this 2-part BL Awards 2020. See you again next year. Have a prosperous new year everyone.